the 3rd chapter.
Glory to you, Lord.
As the people were filled with expectation and were questioning in their hearts concerning John the Baptist, whether he might be the Messiah, John answered them by saying, I baptize you with water, but one who is more powerful than I is coming. I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandals. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand, to clear his threshing floor and to gather the wheat into his granary. But the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. Now, when all the people were baptized, and when Jesus also had been baptized and was praying, the heaven was opened up, and the Holy Spirit descended upon him in bodily form like a dove, and a voice came from heaven. You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
Have you ever been flabbergasted? I love that word because it perfectly describes that moment when another person says or does something that leaves one absolutely stunned by either the meanness or the stupidity of their action. I actually call those moments in my life whiteout experiences because they seem to come as suddenly as whiteouts on an open road, when one moment it's clear sailing and the next you can't see 10 feet in front of your bumper. When it happens emotionally, you feel like every nerve in your brain is firing at once as you try to comprehend what is going on. The only way to describe it is being flabbergasted. As one who tries, quite unsuccessfully I might add, to keep all the drama in my life confined to what happens on the stage of the lyric opera, I always hope that whiteouts are few and far between. But one day this week, I had two within a 5-hour period. The first came when a friend called to tell me that a guy who he had had coffee with a couple of times and had asked out to dinner originally had said yes, but then wrote him an email that said he had changed his mind and didn't want to have dinner or even be his friend because, and I'm quoting now, he didn't want to pursue a relationship with someone who was HIV positive. My friend is positive, was honest about it, and was flabbergasted at the response. Needless to say, I was too. We decided to meet for coffee, and I asked him to print out the email exchange and bring it with him. We talked. He was hurt. I kept thinking that we had suddenly been time-warped back to the mid-1980s when people didn't know much about the disease and may have been excused for being a little scared. I kept thinking of Ryan White. Remember him, the Kokomo, Indiana teenager who in 1984 was expelled from school because he had contracted HIV through a blood transfusion? He was treated like a leper, shunned, expelled. I bet there were some people who didn't even want to have dinner with him either. I thought about how far I had hoped we'd come And most of all, I couldn't understand how one supposedly intelligent gay man could treat another man, who I knew to be a real good guy, in this fashion. When we met, I read the email exchange, which was more appalling in paper than it sounded over the phone, and I did the only thing I could think of doing. I ripped it into a million little pieces, threw it mightily in the trash can with all the rest of the coffee and the crumbs, and said, "That's where this and this guy belongs. His emails are trash, so is he." I thought about going home to take a shower to wash the grime off, but I was scheduled to have another coffee with another guy who was troubled and wanted to talk. Let me say, as an aside here, that unlike Robert H. Schuller and Dr. Phil or Norman Vincent Peale, who clearly seem to believe that they have the solution to every problem in the world, I'm always puzzled when anybody asks my advice about anything. Most of the time, I can't even find my cell phone, my car keys, or even the car. So I don't really think I'm the one to turn to over life's most vexing question. Some people do, however. I think it's just because I'm standing there and I'm available.